What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we talk about our new uniforms for Baylor football, plus we discuss Baylor softball's run in the Super Regionals this past weekend. All that and more coming up on the show. Don't forget, you can watch Inside Baylor Sports for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod as well. And follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for a free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Tuesday, May 28, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside the Baylor Bear insider Jerry Hill. Got a great show for you in our final week of shows for the year before we take a break and see you back here in August. And Jerry, what a better way to end the year than releasing new uniforms today at 10 o'clock Central Time. Excited for this. Been several months in the making. Schools on the football side typically get new uniforms every, 5, 6, 7 years. And we got a great apparel provider in Nike. Love me some Nike. And rolling out these today. Jerry, do you get excited about new uniforms? What comes to mind when you think about new uniforms?
Can I be honest with you, Justin? Should I be honest?
Old head, you don't even care about the uniforms.
No, I can't say that. I mean, and I've talked about it from this angle before. Do uniforms mean that much to me? No, but I know that they mean a lot, to the players. And that makes it important. If it's important to them, then it needs to be important. They need to get, some new swag and to look good, all those kind of things. And so, no, I don't get super uber excited when, there's a uniform release or even, looking at new uniforms. But I realize how important it is to them. I realize that that's a big deal for them. It can even, attract recruits when your unis look good. That's today's world, is that they get excited looking at the new uniforms and things like that. So, do I get excited? No, but I'm sure you do, Justin. You get excited about a lot of things. So I'm sure you're excited about the uniform release.
I am very excited, Jerry, and I'm not surprised that you're not super excited. I will say, hey, a lot of our fans do get into the uniforms, okay? And it's off season. This is a perfect time to release uniforms. It's the off season. It's the end of May. You go back about 10, 11 years, we released those uniforms right around the same time. And so taking a page out of that book, this is the perfect time to release them right as the summer approaches. Mother Nature would tell you otherwise with the heat. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'll say this much. These uniforms can be super exciting, at the same time divisive topic amongst fan bases, almost like politics, right? 100% of people will not be satisfied. Guaranteed. It's like us two going to the car dealership, Jerry. If we're picking out cars, so let's say there's 200 cars at the car dealership. I can guarantee you, if money's not maybe we got a little budget, whatever out there, we're not picking the same cars, okay? Different colors, different options, different packages. Sometimes you have limited choices. You don't have a huge package to choose from. So it's one of those situations where I think, for us and our fan base, I'll say this is a version 2.0 of what we had in 2019, an upgrade, much improved. And I'm really excited to see these uniforms. Really, the fun part is when you get to see them on the field in the fall in front of a packed, sold-out house in McLean Stadium.
And here's the thing. Like you said, there's no way that everybody is going to like them, that they're going to think, oh, wow, this is what we need to be in. That's not going to be the case. There are some, old heads that, think this way. And then there's some, new that thinks we should be this way. So I think that's just part of it. But guess what? They're going to be talking Baylor football. So I think that's a good thing, that they're going to be talking Baylor football in May. You think about, we've still got, a couple of months, 3 months before the start of the season. And people are going to be talking about Baylor football, and they're going to be talking about the new gear, the new swag, all those kinds of things. So I think that's good. That part is good. But like you said, no way that 100% of our fan base probably is going to agree on anything, but specifically on the uniforms.
No. And hey, the fact that they're engaging, they're talking about it, that right there is a win, right? Getting everybody fired up. We got, more than 3 months until the football season starts. and they're talking Baylor football, and that's exactly what they need to be talking about. And so that's a win right there. And yes, from college football, the video game being one of 35 schools featured in that. Had some good interaction last week on social media, as well as yesterday, kind of announcing that the uniforms are coming, telling you kind of the when and what, and looking forward to everyone kind of seeing them. We'll talk more about the uniforms at the end of the week, our final show of the year on Friday, as Jerry has not seen them just yet. I've seen them for a couple months. Okay, Jerry, and you'll like them. I think you're going to like them. So we'll talk on Friday. I will say this caveat, a key note. When watching the uniform reveal video today at 10 o'clock, please watch the full video. It's 55 seconds in length, not very long. The last few seconds are very important for the remainder of the week. So make sure you watch the whole video, and the last few seconds really important for the rest of the week. So hoping our fan base can really, be galvanized around this. There's a lot going on this year. The 13, 14 teams getting honored, a lot of fun going on. I'm ready to hit the field here in a couple months. But uniforms, yeah, they're fun to talk about, fun to dissect, but even more fun to see on the football field.
I think you are questioning my attention span. And I resemble that remark. I have good attention span, so I'm sure
Jerry.
I'll watch the whole 55 seconds. I promise you.
Okay, and you can text me afterwards. No, I'll just say, hey, some fans will watch for about 10, 15 seconds.
Right.
And they're going to see, some different looks there, and they might just be like, oh, that's the video. No, keep watching. Watch the full video. So I teased you enough there. I'm not going to give you more. Jerry's not going to ask me what's in the Christmas gifts. You're going to have to wait till Christmas to open them up. So wait till 10 o'clock this morning. So looking forward to that. Jerry, this weekend you had other business going on. You were in Gainesville, Florida. And I will say this. I know a couple guys that were on that trip, and they said it was hot. When they got back to Texas, they actually said it was hotter here. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Texas is hot. But what was it like there in Gainesville? Obviously, game 3, Shaylin Govan, about 10 feet short of a home run that would have put the Bears up on top. And maybe we're talking a different story here. Maybe we're talking about them going to the College World Series, but it wasn't meant to be. Florida wins game 3, 5-3.
I tell you what, when you look around the country, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure on this, maybe A&M Texas, but I don't know that any other, super regional that was as competitive or more competitive than Baylor, Florida. And I don't know that anybody expected that or saw that going in. I think everybody expected this to be a 2-game Florida sweep. They're probably going to rule them, this and that. But it didn't happen. Even in this last one, it's 4-0 after 2 innings, and you're starting to think, okay, looks like the end of the season. Bears had their run. They're done with this fun. And Florida, I think, could have, I'm not saying they took the foot off the gas. Baylor actually shut them down and really kind of stayed in the game. I'll give Aaliyah Benford credit for that because, Florida did come out hot in that last game. This was the winner takes all game, and they really came out hot, scored 2 runs in the first, then got a 2-run homer from Mia Williams, the number 9 hitter in the second inning. So Aaliyah Benford kind of settled things down. There were some critical, plays and things that kept them in that. And like you said, they're about 10 feet away from potentially taking the lead and then needing to shut Florida down in the bottom of the 7th. But that's how close they were to the World Series. And I give Glenn Moore and that coaching staff and these players a lot of credit because I know that nobody gave them any respect going into this super regional. And I think they proved that they belong, and they were definitely, it was a very even playing field. Here's the thing. But between the 3 games, there was 1-run difference between the 2 teams. Florida outscored them by 1. But guess what? Baylor out-hit them every game. That's how close this series was, though. Very, very evenly matched, which you didn't see that going in, but it was very evenly matched and just a really good super regional.
Yeah, and man, it was a lot of fun to watch. I think, hey, Baylor, some of the situation, especially for for national commentators, it's what have you done for me lately? And some of those commentators that were even, I thought the group did a great job over the weekend, but some of the commentators across the country, they weren't announcing games in 2017, right? Some of them were still playing. And so for Baylor softball, yes, the last couple of years haven't went the same way that we've wanted them to go. But I think it's safe to say that Baylor softball is back in really good hands right now. They have some seniors that will depart, but they have a lot of returning production for this team. And I still have to think, man, they were right there. I mean, right there with a top 5 Florida team, a couple bounces. I thought the defense was incredible all weekend. I don't know how much you can say about Presley Pylon. I know she just started playing shortstop this season. She looks like she's a poor person's version of Derek Jeter at shortstop. Okay. She is just getting started there, and just really, really strong there at shortstop. I was really impressed with her play.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, she doesn't start the year there. That's not a position she's played, at least not on the college level. She was a second baseman at LSU, and she's been a second baseman here. It was only the injury with Amber Tobin that's why she made the shift to shortstop. But man, I think she's been unbelievable there. She's got great hands. She's got a real quick release. She gets rid of the ball so fast. There were a couple of those plays on grounders up the middle and stuff that she may make it look routine, but it's really not. And she just is able to get rid of it so quick and get it over there. But yeah, I guess it was the Saturday game in game 2, she just makes this unbelievable play. And it was right after they had hit a home run, for their first run. And she just dives all out to her right, makes this catch unbelievable. And that it kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, because it was just like play after play after play that defense made. Riley Crandall pitched a great game as well. But man, that defense, Emily Hott made a great diving catch coming in. Taylor Strain did the same thing. Taylor Strain made a couple of catches, going back where, again, she made them look routine, but a lot of it was because she's fast, but she also had a good read on the ball. So great in center field. And again, just like Presley, Taylor didn't start out in center field. She started out in right field and maybe wasn't even in the lineup all the time. And then she wound up being a really good center fielder. Again, made a lot of really good plays this past weekend. And man, she was really good. So yeah, that second game, it was a little bit of everything. I mean, obviously Shaylin Govan hit the 3-run homer in the first inning to kind of set the tone and be like, yeah, guys, we're not going away easy. I think Florida fans and certainly Florida's team, I think showed up Saturday thinking this is it. We won the first game 4-2. We're going to close it out, and we're going to go to Oklahoma City. But Baylor had other plans. And, yeah, Govan's homer, I think, just kind of set it off the right way. Riley, again, pitched really well, to hold that great Florida offense down. I think Justin in the first 2 games, I haven't looked at the final stats, but in those first 2 games, Florida, a team that I believe they were top 4, top 5 in batting average, they were hitting 200 in those first 2 games. So that's how good Baylor's pitching held them down. And even in the last game, they had 6 hits, too many walks, and obviously got hurt by the long ball. But, again, Baylor held them down to hold that team to, I believe, Justin, it was 11 runs in the 3 games. This is a Florida team that could put 11 runs on anybody on any day. So the fact that Baylor did that against them, I do think, like you said, there were a lot of seniors on this team, but I think there's enough coming back that they've tasted that now. This is a team, this is a program that hadn't been to this level since 2017, like you mentioned. So this was new to them. But I thought they handled everything really well. And you do have some of those players back, and you have, an Amber Tobin coming off that injury. That'll be back. Hopefully you get Dari Orm back. They're, dealing with an NCAA waiver on that to get her back. So, yeah, again, you've got a lot of key pieces back. But I appreciated the fight in these guys the whole time. I mean, in that last game, again, you're down 4-0 after 2 innings. It would have been real easily, and even early in the year, it would have been real easy to throw in the towel when you're 22-18 and 5-13 in the Big 12. But they didn't. They just kept fighting. And particularly in this super regional, man, to come back like they did, to win that game 2, and then really push them in game 3. I mean, they were right there. Emily Hott's home run in the 5th inning made it a 1-run game, 4-3. They're right there. Florida scores a run. I believe it was in the fifth, bottom of the 5th or 6th. I think it was the 5th inning, so made it 5-3. But Baylor's got the first 2 runners on base in the top of the 7th, with a hit by Taylor Strain and a walk by Emily Hott. Again, with Shea Govan coming up there with 1 out and runners, 2 runners on base. So she's the go-ahead run, and she hit a shot to the warning track in left field. Just a little bit of wind, or maybe a little bit more loft. That's a home run, and they're not walking it off. Obviously, you gotta hold them down in the bottom of the 7th. But man, that would have been so exciting to take the lead on that Florida team there in the 7th.
And of course, Florida had a long winning streak heading into the weekend. So Baylor snapped that one. Baylor definitely held its own all weekend. And yeah, Presley Pylon, she makes difficult plays look routine. She's really impressive to watch there at shortstop. I loved watching her defense all weekend long, and just everybody's and good defense. And I'd say another thing too with Presley, high IQ. That's part of playing defense. You know where to go before, like she's 2-3 steps ahead of the other team, and that's what you need. You talk about catcher, shortstop, center field; those are really key, and obviously your pitcher, catcher at the battery, old school word there, battery. You don't hear that from young people too much, but that's a situation where Baylor softball, hey, they got a lot of fighters. They fought all season long. They fought right down to the very end. They got to be really proud of their season. 36-23 is the final marker. 59 games there, and you think about it in a couple ways. Baylor softball, hey, was dealt a bad hand this year. Had a lot of injuries. You talk about Dari Orm. When Dari Orm is 100%, she's the best pitcher on this team. We've seen her before. She can be lightning out there. I mean, she's got the ability to be a first-team all-conference type pitcher when she's fully healthy in the Big 12, and that's saying something. And, they didn't have her and some other pieces. And, if you would have had some of those pieces, if you would have stayed healthy and kind of kept this thing together, who knows? You might have been hosting the super regionals. I mean, there was a chance that Baylor certainly at least hosting regionals, but how much of a factor that did you feel like Florida being at Florida? I know they're fans. They came across the TV a lot about complaining about the the umpire. Did you feel like that helped Florida a lot being at home?
I would say not a lot. I mean, I do think, particularly in that first game, I know Glenn talked about it, that the strike zone certainly didn't favor Aaliyah Benford in that first game because she's more of a drop ball pitcher, so she likes the low strike zone, and his was a really high strike zone, and that favored their pitcher Keegan Rothrock, a freshman. And so I would say, other than that, though, Justin, when I look at the game or look at the series, I don't know that there were a lot of calls that went Florida's way or anything like that. I don't think it was an umpire situation. I thought, Baylor got some good challenges, good changes on calls and stuff like that. Certainly it helps when you've got a full house and most of it is blue and orange. I mean, like, that certainly favors Florida. But again, I don't think it was a completely unfair advantage. Like, I don't know that was the difference in this game or in this series. I think Baylor played them very evenly. Now, again, you could say it this way. If that series is at Getterman in Waco, I think Baylor wins. That's how even these teams are. So in that sense, yes, Florida, was advantageous for them to be at home, obviously. They play better in that park. They're really good at home. So yeah, I think it gave them an advantage there. But again, there was a 1-run difference in this series, so it wasn't like they had a huge advantage. And their fans, they're not like the rowdy fans like you would see at Louisiana. They get into the game. There were a couple times, in Sunday's game where they really got loud and they got into it and stuff. But for the most part, I thought they were pretty quiet. Like, they didn't really kind of change the game or anything like that. They didn't get, into the Baylor players' heads or anything like that. I thought it was, not a sedate, but it was, it was not like a Louisiana crowd. So yeah, I don't think it's like an intimidating atmosphere or anything either. So, I think in that sense, Baylor felt pretty at home there. I thought they, kind of, they obviously they held their own, but I thought they were very comfortable in that setting.
Okay, well, they just came across the TV like they're Luka Doncic. So just a lot of barking at the umpire. But hey, that's to be expected. If I'm behind there, I'm going to be barking, right? And I'm doing whatever it takes for Florida to win. So I get it. No disrespect whatsoever to the Florida Gator fans. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. If I was there, I'd be doing the same thing. But yeah, just a situation that, hey, you're going to want to obviously host and give them credit. Florida had the better regular season, so you host. You win it in the regular season. Sometimes that puts you in a position to obviously host and do those things, as we saw the baseball selection show coming out on Monday, 6 teams from the Big 12. So good for the Big 12 there. But yeah, it's one of those situations where, Baylor softball, sometimes they say in sports, you have to feel the hurt. You have to lose before you win. And so for this team, they haven't been here before. And so for all of those returners who will now go through this process, that sting of losing, of having to take that long flight back from Gainesville to Waco, to having to watch Florida and your other Big 12 competitors, Oklahoma State, Texas, and Oklahoma, play in the World Series. You need to take all that in, learn, and really store that away, Jerry, for next season, because that's how you can come back and advance and get to the Women's College World Series in 2025.
Oh, I think it definitely motivates them, Justin. They want to go to Oklahoma City. That's the goal. That's the goal for every softball team in the country, is they want to end up at Oklahoma City for the World Series, something Baylor has done 4 times already. I believe it's the most among private schools. So certainly a feather in their cap, but they want to go back. This is a team, this is a program, a proud program that definitely wants to go back to the World Series. And like you said, all those players that went through it this year that are coming back next year, they feel that, they know the hurt, of that last game. And man, you could see it, particularly in the seniors. They hurt. They were really, this hit them. Well, it hit home that this was it. This was their last game of their college career, probably the last game for most of them to play softball. So, it definitely hit. And Emily Hott came into the interview room and she was very emotional, but, did a great job. But you could tell she was hurting. Sydney Collazos was hurting. So you feel for those seniors. And I know that next year's group will be motivated to, and again, it starts with, like you said, it starts with the regular season. What you do there helps you better position yourself to make it to Oklahoma City. You need to host a regional at least. You need to try to host a super regional. So you need to be a top 8 seed, really. But at the very least, host a regional, give yourself a better chance. And even if you're not a super regional host, maybe you're, say, a 9, 10, 11, where you're not, facing one of those very top teams. Hey, but here's the thing. Baylor, with some of the players coming in, Baylor can be one of those teams next year. That's how good this team could be. I know we lost a lot of seniors, but I know there's some good players coming in, and they're working it hard out there on the recruiting trail. So this could be a really good team next year, particularly if you get some of those pieces back, like we mentioned with Dariana Orm.
All right, Wednesday's show coming up tomorrow. We'll talk men's golf and track. Thursday's show, we're going to recap the year, our favorite moments from 23-24. And then on Friday's show, we'll talk Baylor football, uniforms, details, reaction, as we've seen throughout the entire week. That'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Jerry Hill, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Tuesday, and Sick 'em Bears.
Sick 'em Bears.